Hey everybody, welcome back to the Apke Brothers channel. In this video, I'm going to show you 4 ways to evaluate slope on the computer. And slope is one of the most important things when you are trying to evaluate a piece of land, whether you should buy it or not, whether it's good for building or not. It is the hardest thing to evaluate, and these tools can help you so much when doing that. So let's get to it. All right, so I'm on the land portal here. There's a free 14-day trial in the description below if you're interested in trying out this software. This is where we're gonna do most of our slope analysis. So starting out, we're gonna review this piece of property right here. And the first thing I'm gonna show you how to do is to evaluate slope based on contour lines. So in the bottom right here, click the button for contour lines, and you can see the slope. And what these do, it tells you the amount of feet above sea level. So here you can see 860, 840, and going around, that's 860 over here. Again, an 820 right there. And this is not an exact science. This is just one of the tools. So going through contour lines, from the appearance, this appears to be all 860 here, 860 here. So it's probably relatively flat. But again, this is just one of the tools. When you're going through contour lines, you want to see how quickly the lines change from going. So if these lines are closer together, it's going to be more severe slope and probably more difficult to build on. Going to the next thing, you're going to hit 3D. So we had the contour lines, and the 3D is built from a model that is not based on the contour lines. This is another tool that's not necessarily associated with the contour lines. So hitting 3D, and it's going to give us a 3D view of the parcel. So zooming around here, you can see this is really sloped in some areas. According to this, drops really far. You almost have a valley right here. So looking at the contour lines, I didn't initially think it would be an issue as far as having some flat areas. But that being said, like, this is a lot more slope than I initially thought just from the contour lines. And when you're looking at 3D, you want to look around. Again, this is another one of the tools. Am I going to say from this 3D that this is for sure not buildable? Absolutely not. I want to keep looking into this property to see what else we are seeing on the other tools. So first off, you have contour lines. Second, you have 3D. The third thing that I want to show you is actually getting on KML, and that's going to give us a better picture of it. It's going to allow us to get a street view picture of the property. So clicking back into it, and what I'm going to do here while this is loading, I'm going to load a slope report. So I'm just going to click here and hit send request. We're going to get a slope report for this property. Scrolling down before I go to KML, let's hit KML real fast and we'll go there in a second. But scrolling down, you can see what we have down here in the land portal. You have the average slope on the property, 26%. You have the slope, the amount of the property that is flat, which is very little. Very little of this property is flat. We kind of saw that with the contour and especially the 3D. And then minimal slope, 0.5 to 5% slope. Only 2.77% of the property. Then you have 5, and then the majority of this property, high majority of this property is extreme slope, 15+%. You can also click on the map right here, show on map. This is going to look for flat spots. Is it perfectly correct? Absolutely not. It is another tool, and this is looking for clusters of areas on the property for flat spots. And if I don't think I said it earlier, this property is in Shelby County, Kentucky. It's a sloped area for sure. And you can see it found 2 flat properties. We'll go into those in more detail in a minute. So let's hit the KML and let's get on Google Earth. All right, so now you can see we have the parcel on Google Earth, and we're going to do 2 different things on Google Earth to review the slope of the property. So again, these are tools that we're using for this. A lot of different analysis we can use on Google Earth. So what I'm going to hit the ruler at the top, and then I'm going to go to path here. And I'm going to hit show elevation profile. All I'm going to do is click the front of the property on the road access and click the back. Okay, and now you can see the elevation profile comes up here on the bottom, and you can see as you go through that line, as you go down, okay, this is only 852 above sea level. It stays relatively flat these first 250 feet based on this. Then it slopes up, and then we have a steep decline almost into a valley back here. The interesting part, what I'm getting from this is this front area, according to this, you still could have some left to right slope, which we're going to check here in a second. The front area of this parcel is relatively flat, at least front to back. So let's clear this. And then we're going to do basically a east-west based on this. I don't know if it's actually east-west, but an east-west, and see the same thing. Like, okay, the front of this property is relatively flat. Is it front left or is it flat left to right as well? And going through this is relatively flat. So this front 250 feet or so is very intriguing for a buildable spot. Once we get to the back of the property, it does not look like we're going to be able to build on it. So that's good news for sure. The next thing you can do on Google Earth, like, okay, based on that, it's showing relatively flat at the front. We're going to actually go to Street View to see what it looks like. And I'm going to drop right here because this area right here, I really want to see what that looks like. Does it actually look as flat as what it's saying? And this is actually a beautiful property. We already have a fence, and you can see this is an amazing spot right here that we could potentially build on. So that is very intriguing. And then like we talked about, after those first couple hundred feet off the road, it gets pretty severe in terms of the slope. And you can see over here, almost like a valley over here, this is your building spot that we talked about. We can go back to the land portal, going to it. This appears to be the spot. So this spot is very, very intriguing in terms of building. There is not much. This is 33 acres, but there is not much more available building area than this spot up front. So what we're going to do finally, so we've done the contour lines, we've done 3D, we've looked at the KML on Google Earth. The fourth thing and final thing we're going to do is look at our slope report on the land portal. Again, there's a free 14-day trial in the description below. Here it is right here. And all we're going to do, we're going to hit download file. And we're going to open this up once it's ready. All right, so open this up. And this is an AI generated slope report. So let me walk through this real fast. This is AI generated. So again, this is the information we saw in the property card. Nothing really new here. We saw all this. We already know all this information. Okay, great. So now we have some different things to show in terms of some new graphs. And this is all elevation based on the shading. So if your shading stays very similar, that means it's going to be relatively flat. So again, we're talking about this front part being the best spot to build. And what this AI does, it looks for buildable spots. It looks for flat spots on the property where it can be built. And you can see here, this is a valley. This triangle right here is a valley. This does turn into a valley, but it's not at the front. The front has that wide white area, which you can see is a very consistent 860 feet above sea level, and it doesn't really vary too much off of there. A couple other graphs that are similar. This is slope percentage. So again, very low slope percentage in this area. Then it kind of valleys out there, but this area again is a very intriguing spot. It looks like there's a creek right here, so wouldn't worry about that. Continually to go down. This again is slope percentage, just in different little clusters. And this is a very, very detailed report. We literally take every 1 by 1 meter area of the property and define it with what elevation that has. So this is very detailed. Again, you see this front area that is the most intriguing buildable spot. Okay, so now going into the clusters. The clusters, like we saw on the map before, the clusters are looking for buildable spots. So you see one cluster, two clusters, right where we really thought, right where all the other tools kind of confirmed. And the clusters are not just buildable, clusters are looking for flat areas. So very flat areas, as we saw in that road frontage one when we were looking on the street view. So we found two clusters. Let's find out the information. I'm not that interested in this cluster. It's probably going to be too small, but this cluster is very, very nice. We saw that flat area when we were looking from the road. So this cluster is 0.352 acres, plenty of room to put a house, to put a mobile home, whatever, a very big house on 0.352 acres. Then you have the other 30 acres to play with. You can see the slope here. The average slope is 4.5%, and all the details. This is only 1% of the entire land, but that being said, this is a very, very flat area. And again, like we saw on the road frontage, this is gonna be the best area without a doubt to build on this property. Going through, there's more information on the clusters. You can go through cluster 2 it's gonna have as well, which is gonna be smaller. This is only 0.15. This one's a little farther back. Could you put a house there? Absolutely. But I think without a doubt, this front spot is the best place to put a house, mobile home, build, whatever. Other than that, the land portal without a doubt is the best place to evaluate land. The next step after I do this would actually be getting a drone photographer to go out there or a realtor to go walk the land to confirm everything that we're seeing on these tools. Like I said before, if you guys have not tried out the land portal before, there's a free 14-day trial in the description below. Let us know if you have any questions. Hit the subscribe button below. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.